Hey everyone, this is Alex, the real Mr. Robinson, and I'm in a different setting for the moment because I'm going to talk about all of my DVDs and Blu-rays. This is something that I wanted to do for a while. I actually did a video about my DVD and Blu-ray collection on my old channel, AlexG8462, but since then, I've just gotten a shit ton of more movies. So, we're going to talk about it. This is not all that I have. There are some box sets that I have that are set aside because, well, there's not enough room on the table. So once I clear all this, I'm going to pull in the box sets and we'll continue the video with those. But yeah, you might want to get some food because this is going to be long. I got myself a drink from In-N-Out, making everyone outside of California really jealous right now, but yeah, let's get into this. Let's start off with the obvious ones. Let's start with the obvious movies. I'm going to go over these really quickly. Godzilla and Godzilla King of the Monsters. I had the DVD from Classic Media and the Blu-ray from the Criterion Collection. Godzilla Raids Again. Mothra vs. Godzilla. Ghidorah the Three-Headed Monster. Invasion of the Astro Monster. Ebirah Horror of the Deep. Son of Godzilla, Destroy All Monsters, All Monsters Attack, Godzilla vs. Hedorah, Godzilla vs. Gigan, Godzilla vs. Megalon, Terror of Mechagodzilla, Godzilla vs. Biollante, Godzilla vs. King Ghidorah, Godzilla vs. Mothra in 1992, Godzilla vs. Mechagodzilla 2, Godzilla vs. Space Godzilla, Godzilla vs. Destoroyah, and Godzilla vs. Megaguirus, Godzilla 2000, GMK, Giant Monsters All-Out Attack, and Godzilla against Mechagodzilla, Godzilla Tokyo SOS, Godzilla Final Wars, and 2014's Godzilla. So, I don't own Godzilla vs. Mechagodzilla from 1974 because for some reason that DVD is very hard to find when it shouldn't be. And I don't own King Kong vs. Godzilla because the only version of the movie that's available in the United States is the US version, and I don't like that version. Like, I'd rather own the Japanese version. And I don't own the Return of Godzilla, aka Godzilla 1985, because neither version of the movie has ever been released in the US, which is odd. There's some legal bullshit, but that's the first stack. Let's see, let's move on. This is going to be completely random. I'm going to try to keep the franchises in order, but it's going to be completely random what I pull out. Let's see, we have Titanic, not my favorite James Cameron movie. It's actually my least favorite James Cameron movie, but it's still good regardless. The romance is a little cheesy. I mean, it's basically Romeo and Juliet on a boat, but the actors do a great job. It's well directed, and the sinking of the Titanic is a fantastic sequence. Next up we have Skyfall. Now this is actually my favorite of the Daniel Craig Bond movies. I know a lot of people point to Casino Royale, which is good, but I just like Skyfall a little better because it has those classic elements of the Bond eras before Daniel Craig came in. Like, it pulled in from the Sean Connery era. This is like classic Bond, but updated. Mission Impossible Ghost Protocol. I have not seen the other Mission Impossible movies, but everyone keeps telling me this is the best one, and it is fantastic. I wish the IMAX sequences were still retained, like how it is in the Dark Knight Blu-ray, but it's still a fantastic action movie regardless. Here's some pickups just today that I've never seen, so they're blind buys. 21 and 22 Jump Street. I've never seen these movies. People have told me they're hilarious. They're from Phil Lord and Chris Miller? Yeah, who did the Lego movie, and given that I love the Lego movie, I might love this. So, one day I'll check these out. We have Inception. I think Christopher Nolan's last great movie. I mean, it's very inventive. It has some elements from other movies like Eternal Sunshine of the Spotless Mind and The Matrix, but it's still a fantastic action science fiction film. Edge of Tomorrow, I almost said Live, Die, and Repeat, even though that's not the title of this movie, but a fantastic science fiction action movie with Tom Cruise and Emily Blunt. I regret not seeing this in the theater. This was a blind buy also. I watched it, and I was like, this is really good. Why didn't I see it? Okay, well, there was a reason, but it had nothing to do with the movie. It was personal stuff. Here's another blind buy, The Raid. I saw The Raid 2 at Sundance, and I have not only my review on the site, but the recording of the Q&A with the director, Gareth Evans, about The Raid 2, but I've never seen the original. A lot of my college roommates said, hey, you gotta watch the original. And definitely get around to that one day. Dread. I am the law! That's the wrong Dread, but this, similar to like Edge of Tomorrow, I didn't see this in the theater, and then when I saw it, got it as a blind, but I'm like, why didn't I see this movie in the theater? Because it's really good. Looper, one of my favorite movies of 2012, fantastic action movie. Joseph Gordon-Levitt and Bruce Willis actually giving a shit once in his career. And it's directed by Rian Johnson and written by him, who's taking on Star Wars Episode 8, so I'm curious to see where this goes. Fast and the Furious, it's an entertaining movie. I like the last 3 movies a little better, but this one is still important because it spawned the entire franchise. Despicable Me 2, out of the 2 Despicable Me movies, this is my favorite. It's a cute movie. Nothing on the level of Pixar, but still good. Puss in Boots. This was a surprise to me because at this point, Shrek was just kind of downhill. The first 2 are really great. The third one sucks. The fourth one was okay. This one was directed by the director of Shrek the Third, and is like, wow, this is really good. Here's something controversial. Prometheus. Now, I do own the other movies in this series, at least the ones worth owning, but Prometheus, it has problems, yes. Is it an awful movie like everyone makes it out to be? Not really. It's just kind of disappointing, but it's visually stunning. The actors do a great job. I love how it explains things in the first Alien without actually going into detail and ruining the mythology. So that's one thing I really appreciate. Serenity on Steelbook. This is the only Steelbook that I own. I love Firefly. I've not watched Serenity yet, so I'm willing to give this a shot. Pacific Rim. This made number 3 in my favorite movies of 2013, and it's only because that year was a very mediocre year for movies, I thought. But Pacific Rim, it was a fun monster movie. It definitely reminded me of why I love Godzilla and just the genre of giant monster movies. And there's a couple more we'll get into later in this video. E.T. Elliot. Yeah, E.T. The Extraterrestrial. It's a masterpiece from Steven Spielberg. It's a fantastic movie, and I love that this is the version without the walkie-talkie bullshit. Luckily, Spielberg has just been, I don't know what came over me. Rocky Horror Picture Show. I've not actually reviewed the movie, but I did a summary of my experience of going to the midnight showings, and I've yet to see this movie unriffed. I don't know if I want to see it unriffed, but, I mean, I don't know what to say there. Let's move on to a really great movie, All That Jazz. This is Roy Scheider's best movie next to Jaws, obviously. I recently saw it in the theater over at the local art museum here, LACMA, and it's a fantastic movie. I've forgotten how good this is. Wings. This is the first film to ever win the Academy Award for Best Picture. It's a silent war movie. One day I'll get around to watching this. It Happened One Night. Okay, it's in there. This one felt a little light, but this is a movie from Frank Capra that I saw in one of my film classes. Really great chemistry. It's a very funny movie, and it won Best Picture. Next we have The Apartment. This is probably my favorite Billy Wilder movie. He's done some like Hot, Sunset Boulevard, and Double Indemnity, but The Apartment just might be my favorite. There's something about this movie that just makes me fall in love with it, whether it's Shirley MacLaine or just the way it's told. This is a fantastic movie. The Sound of Music. There's a updated version to collide with the 50th anniversary, but this is the 45th anniversary. Yes, it is. Good movie. Really, really good movie. A little too long, but it definitely shows that Julie Andrews is one of the most talented singers ever in terms of film. Godfather movies. I've only seen the first one. I haven't gone around to seeing the second one, and I'm very hesitant about seeing the third one. I almost don't want to. But the first Godfather is really great. Braveheart. I've not seen Braveheart, but yeah, it's really. I've heard it's really good, so I'm looking forward to seeing that. You could tell that there's a Best Picture winner trend going on here. That's this will be the last one. The Rocky Heavyweight Collection, because the first Rocky won Best Picture. The first Rocky's really good. The fourth one is cheesy as hell, but I love it. Rocky Balboa is really good, the best one since the first one. The fifth one stinks. That's right, it stinks! That's my best Sylvester Stallone impression. RoboCop, the original Paul Verhoeven version. It's the uncut version, which I made a point to watch before seeing the remake. And the remake's meh, but this one is fantastic, and it still holds up. Total Recall, it's the first time Arnold Schwarzenegger has popped up on this set. This is the crappier Blu-ray version. I like to get the newer, updated version, but Total Recall is a fun science fiction movie. I'm trying to think of it. But sweetheart, we're married. Consider that the divorce. Love that. Tokyo Drifter is a very stylistic Japanese action movie, Yakuza gangster film from 1966. It's something I saw in film class, and it's just like, wow. Like, I wanted to write a paper on this movie, so it's just like, hey, I like the movie enough, I'll just buy it on Blu-ray, and that way I have a reference to write the paper with, and now I own Tokyo Drifter. The Die Hard movies. The first one's awesome. Not seen the other three, and I'm so grateful that this came out in collision with A Good Day to Die Hard, and I'm so glad that they didn't do like what they did with the Bond 50 set, where it's just like, here's an additional space for A Good Day to Die Hard, because I wonder how many of those spaces would be empty. Or the bigger question is how many people would actually fill that space. Ghostbusters 1 and 2. This is another digibook, or the first digibook I've shown. The first Ghostbusters is my favorite comedy of all time. The second one, it's not horrible, but it's definitely not all that great. 3 Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles movies. The first one is, it's harmless, it's not spectacular, but it's a good movie, I think. The second one is crap, but it's fun crap. It's a guilty pleasure for me. And the third one is just shit. My favorite action movie of all time, Terminator 2, Judgment Day. There's just something about Terminator 2 that screams excellence in terms of the genre. Predator. Predator, I think, is maybe underappreciated because everyone loves Predator, but I don't think people really understand how amazing this movie is. Because it starts off like a Rambo ripoff. It's like, yeah, just a bunch of guys in the jungle just shooting people, and it's like, okay, this movie's good but not great. But then once the Predator starts killing them off, it's like, okay, this movie's getting really good and is worth seeing in your lifetime. And then once it's just Arnold and the Predator, and Arnold has to rely on stealth and not his weapons, it's like, this is a fantastic action thriller that you need to get off your ass and see right now. So that's what I say about Predator. Here's something that is one of the closest things to saying that's my favorite movie of all time, Jaws. This is the digibook from Universal when it got first released on Blu-ray. It's a fantastic movie. I got to see a special 40th anniversary screening at the Writers Guild where the writer, Carl Gottlieb, there was a Q&A after him, and I got to take my picture with him and shake his hand and say thank you for Jaws. Even though Spielberg, Roy Scheider, Robert Shaw, Richard Dreyfuss helped contribute to this. Many people helped contribute to this happy accident, and it's just one of the greatest movies of all time, as you see right there. Here we have Peter Jackson's King Kong, the theatrical and extended editions. I like this movie. It's a little too long in the beginning. Like, the stuff on the SS Venture could have been shortened, but I still think it's fantastic in terms of special effects and action. Not as good as the original, though. We're going to talk about some Disney stuff. Or animation. Here we have Peter Pan from the 1950s. One that when I was a kid I watched a lot on VHS. Like, the 2 Disney movies that I watched as a kid over and over, it was Peter Pan and Alice in Wonderland. The Great Mouse Detective. The movie that everyone seems to go to as the go-to answer for most underrated animated Disney movie. But they're not wrong. It's a really fun movie. I think it's a better Sherlock Holmes movie than Sherlock Holmes: A Game of Shadows. But that's just me. The Little Mermaid. Now, the animation, the songs, and the supporting characters are really good. Ariel is awful. She is a horrible, horrible heroine. And I hate the message that this movie has, where it's like, if you whine, your way to stuff, you're gonna get everything you want. And that's just, maybe I'm digging a little deep into it, but after Frozen's message of, look, you gotta be independent, and your true love doesn't really mean like someone of the opposite sex. I'm a little more critical of Little Mermaid, but apparently I still like it enough to have it on Blu-ray. Beauty and the Beast, next to another Disney movie that's soon to come out on Blu-ray. This is my favorite, at least from the second golden era. Simba, The Lion King. It's not in my top 10 of animated movies, but it is in my top 10 of sole Disney animated movies. Really good. It's basically Hamlet with lions. And it's just really good all around. Oh man, I need another drink. Are you jealous yet, non-Californians? Okay, we have Wreck-It Ralph, which I really like, but one thing that I found funny about Wreck-It Ralph is, so the past week I was at an event at the Academy called Deconstructing Big Hero 6, and the director, Don Hall, talked about the different ideologies that each studio had, Disney and Pixar. Where Disney's was about Once Upon a Time, and Pixar's was about What If. 2012, I think, was the year where those two companies switched ideologies, because Wreck-It Ralph is very much what if, like what if video game characters were alive in the arcades and the consoles. Does that mean Trevor Phillips is alive in the... Okay, I'm analyzing this too much. And then Brave was the Once Upon a Time type movie. But Wreck-It Ralph, really good. And speaking of Big Hero 6, this was a recent purchase. Big Hero 6, it's a fun animated superhero movie. I like Wreck-It Ralph a little better, and it's definitely no Incredibles in terms of animated superhero movies, but really fun, and Baymax. How can you not love Baymax? The Wind Rises. This is the only Studio Ghibli film that I own. Hayao Miyazaki's most personal movie, I think. And it's just really fantastic. I saw the Japanese version long before it came out in the US, and it's fantastic. Rango! Rango is my favorite animated movie of 2011. It was such a surprise because I didn't expect this movie to be that good. And it's like, holy crap, this thing is actually, it's inventive, it's fun, it could get a little dark. And it's just, not only is it a good animated movie, but it's also a great Western also. The Adventures of Tintin, it's a fun movie. Directed by Spielberg, who's never done an animated movie until this. And it has moments. I haven't seen it in a while, so my opinion might change, but I like it. Everything is awesome. Everything is cool when you're part of a team. The Lego Movie. I mean, I think I've praised the Lego Movie enough. Nightmare Before Christmas. My favorite Christmas movie to watch. Tron Legacy. It looks and sounds amazing. The story could have been improved, but I still like it. The visual look and the sound effects, especially the Daft Punk score, were enough for me to buy this. Here we have The Muppets, the 2011 one, which is really good. I remember seeing it when it first came out. I was like, it's good, but not as great as I remember. Saw it not too long ago, a few years ago, and it's like, oh, this is actually a lot better than I thought it was. But not as good as the original Muppet movie. This is just, it's fantastic. Moving right along to Mary Poppins. I rediscovered this movie soon after Saving Mr. Banks came out, and it made me really appreciate this movie more. It's just like, wow, this is a lot better and more mature than I ever thought this was when I saw it as a kid. Okay, we're gonna lump these together. The Toy Story trilogy. I can't decide which one is my favorite because they're all fantastic. Like some days Toy Story is my favorite. Other days 2 is my favorite, and 3 with its emotionally powerful endings is my favorite. Trilogy as a whole are my favorite animated movies. Next we have Finding Nemo, one of the most beautiful animated movies that Pixar has made. I used to get annoyed at this movie because of Marlin, but after looking at the theme of the movie as an adult and realizing that it's about like not being fearful and just letting your kids like grow up, I really appreciate this movie. And one of the cool bonus features on here is like aquariums, where it's like they replay stills from the movie where it's just like the ocean. And what do you say we pop in one of these as I'm doing the video? I'm kind of blocking it, but you can kind of see it there. But anyway, that's not the focus. I mentioned The Incredibles, and here's The Incredibles. One of my 5 favorite Pixar movies. I count the Toy Story movies as one movie, pretty much. Or one. I lump the Toy Story movies together, but The Incredibles is fantastic. Why did we get Cars 2 before Incredibles 2? I don't know. And I mentioned Brave, which is Pixar's Once Upon a Time movie. And I actually really like Brave. I don't understand the hate that it gets, but it's fantastic regardless. And I'm just actually going to turn this off because I find it distracting and I don't want to get flagged. Come on. There we go. Star Trek The Compendium, which... it's the 2 J.J. Abrams Star Trek movies. I really love the first J.J. Abrams Star Trek. Star Trek Into Darkness I like. I don't think... The ending kind of sucks, but it's very fun. It's well made. The banter between the characters is great. And I'm very optimistic about Star Wars. Close Encounters of the Third Kind. Spielberg's movie right after Jaws, and it's really good. Really good. What's this? Oh, Blade Runner. Okay, I just saw, like a hand and, little, what's it called? Origami. And I was like, what the fuck is this? Never mind. But Blade Runner's really great. I'm not really excited about Blade Runner 2 because I don't think we need a Blade Runner 2, but, and we got the original. We got The Blob. Never actually saw The Blob. Seven Samurai, is labeled to be Kurosawa's masterpiece, and while there's another movie of his that I like more, it's definitely a... As I was saying, before the helicopter interrupted me, this is a fantastic movie regardless, and I even have the movie framed up on my wall. Like, actually, out of all the movie posters, it's the only one that's framed, so... that goes to show how great this movie is. Another Kurosawa classic, The Hidden Fortress, which I've not seen, but I will make a point of seeing before the release of the new Star Wars, because this was the inspiration of the original Star Wars, pretty much, story-wise. And speaking of Star Wars, even though this isn't Star Wars, we got Indiana Jones, The Complete Adventures, Raiders, Temple, Last Crusader, all great. Kingdom of the Crystal Skull, I like Kingdom of the Crystal Skull, but... that's because I didn't really expect it to be as good as the others. And it's not, but I think it gets some undeserved hate. House! I reviewed this movie, and I'll just say, if you ever want to see a fucking insane movie with some friends of yours, watch House. Cabin in the Woods. This was a surprise for me. And along with the Avengers, it got me into Joss Whedon's work. Very fantastic. And as for that lawsuit that's been happening, it's just like... I think it's some idiot who's suing... Joss Whedon just because he has the Avengers coming out. Double Indemnity, I mentioned Billy Wilder. With The Apartment, I mentioned this movie. This is the staple of film noir and fantastic movie on its own. It shows that Billy Wilder can do all sorts of movies, ranging from comedies like The Apartment to serious film noirs like Double Indemnity. We got Orson Welles' Touch of Evil, which I've not seen but want to. Kurosawa's Rashomon, which is a fantastic movie, a very inspirational one, like all of Kurosawa's films. The Following, this is Christopher Nolan's movie before Memento, not seen it. Charade is labeled the best Hitchcockian thriller. Alfred Hitchcock did not direct. It's really good. It's public domain for some reason. I don't know how that happened. Breakfast at Tiffany's, I've not seen this yet. It's a mad world. This is a very long movie, but it's really funny and well made. What is this? Oh, Young Frankenstein. Mel Brooks' Young Frankenstein, which is really a fantastic parody of the Universal Frankenstein movie. And on the same note is Blazing Saddles, the movie that A Million Ways to Die in the West tried to be but failed. I don't hate A Million Ways to Die in the West, but I don't like it. And I made a point to watch Blazing Saddles after A Million Ways to Die in the West, and this is awesome. Had to get a drink before announcing the name of this movie. Dynamite! Dynamite! Black Dynamite is a very funny satire of blaxploitation movies, directed by Scott Sanders, and stars Michael J. White. And if you've never seen Black Dynamite, you gotta check it out. Tropic Thunder is really a funny movie from Ben Stiller, who I'm not usually the biggest Ben Stiller fan, but it's fantastic, along with a great performance by Robert Downey Jr. Fucking helicopter's back, so I'll just wait. Okay, moving on. We got the Cornetto trilogy, which involves Shaun of the Dead, Hot Fuzz, and The World's End. Shaun of the Dead's my favorite, then Hot Fuzz, then The World's End. So basically, as they go on, they get worse, but that's not saying much. They're all fantastic, and it makes me really wonder what would happen if Edgar Wright had stayed on Ant-Man, if Marvel and Edgar Wright worked together. Let's see, we've got Dazed and Confused, a really great coming-of-age movie that I used to hate for some reason. I don't know why, but it's directed by Richard Linklater, who did Boyhood, and it's really fantastic. If you've not seen Dazed and Confused, then watch it. We got Ted. Ted is a surprise for me, considering that I don't like Family Guy, really. I like Seth MacFarlane's other stuff, and Ted was actually a big surprise because I expected it to be as obnoxious as Family Guy, but it wasn't, which I'm kind of worried that's what the sequel's going to be. Okay, what else? Okay, we got 2 more stacks of Blu-rays, and then it's off to DVD and television. Okay, we got Argo, Ben Affleck's Oscar winner, which is a fantastic movie. Really, the nail in the coffin that Ben Affleck is a talented director. Stop making fun of him for the days of Daredevil. Some other shit he did. Gravity, not much in the way of story, but it is a visual experience that is just amazing to watch. Unfortunately, it doesn't, like, the theater experience doesn't hold up as well on Blu-ray, which I wish they could just re-release this movie, like, every year for 1 week in IMAX, because that's the only way you see Gravity, or at least in 3D. Captain Phillips, a fantastic thriller directed by Paul Greengrass, who did the last 2 Bourne movies, and fantastic acting, fantastic script. It's just awesome. Why wasn't Tom Hanks nominated for this movie? The Wolf of Wall Street. Now, I'm going to disappoint everyone by saying this is the only Scorsese film that I own. Oh no, that's actually not true. No, it's not true. But Wolf of Wall Street's fantastic. Really funny. I didn't expect it to be as funny as it was. It's just really awesome. Her, which is my favorite movie of 2013. I think it's a beautiful love story, even though it's with a man and a machine. And it hit me emotionally. So if you haven't seen Her, definitely check it out. It is a masterpiece. We got American Graffiti, George Lucas before Star Wars, which I reviewed this. It's good, really good. The Blues Brothers, funny musical comedy road trip movie in a way with Dan Aykroyd and Jim Belushi. Is it Jim? John Belushi. I'm sorry. I apologize for that. John Belushi and Dan Aykroyd. Really funny. Yeah? It's one of the best car chases ever in film. Fast Times at Ridgemont High is a very funny movie starring Sean Penn and Phoebe Cates. Or Sean Penn is a standout. Hey bud, let's party. And there is a sequence in here that is, it's amazing. And if you're a guy, you know exactly what I'm talking about. The Breakfast Club is a very sweet, funny teen movie from John Hughes. I reviewed this before. Chef's a fantastic movie from Jon Favreau. A very personal movie, and it's the ultimate food porn. It made my top 10. It's it's a very fun movie, very well made and heartfelt, and it'll just make you eat like a pig after seeing it. Okay, we have Rebirth of Mothra, 1, 2, and 3, the Rebirth of Mothra trilogy, which they're very insane compared to the Godzilla movies, but they're light and inoffensive. They're very much what the Gamera movies of the Showa era could have been, but kind of grown up. Like, they maintain the innocence and craziness of the Showa Gamera movies, but they have some more adult themes and better monster scenes. Rise of the Planet of the Apes, I had no expectations for. I wasn't even counting on this to be good, but it was a really good movie. The only problem with it is that it's overshadowed by Dawn of the Planet of the Apes, which this is pretty much like going from Batman Begins to The Dark Knight. It's just like, this is so much better than the past one. In fact, a lot of the sequels that came out in 2004 were better than the previous ones. 2014, I'm sorry, not 2004. 2004. Super 8 is a really good movie from J.J. Abrams, produced by Spielberg, which a lot of people call it a Spielberg ripoff. And it's just like, well, he produced it, so you know there's going to be a hint of Spielberg in there somewhere. And it's just really good. True Grit is the only Coen Brothers movie I own, but it's still really good. Okay, last Blu-ray stack, and then we're going to move on to the DVDs. We got The Wolverine from 2013, which is not great, but it's a fun superhero movie. It definitely shows that Hugh Jackman is that character. And much like with the Two Apes movies, this one's overshadowed by X-Men Days of Future Past, which I think is the best X-Men movie ever made. And one of my favorite superhero movies in the genre. It's awesome. Iron Man. The first Iron Man movie is awesome. I just watched it long ago. I'm prepping for Age of Ultron. I'm watching all the MCU movies in prep for Age of Ultron, and next to Winter Soldier, this is my favorite. The Incredible Hulk is a forgotten movie that, yeah, you could erase it, but it still has some moments that are referenced in the past movies, and I think it's a really fun movie. Nothing spectacular, but it's pretty cool. Thor is good. Thor is really good. I really like Thor, but it does have issues here and there. I don't get the romance between Jane Foster and Thor, but it's still really good. Captain America, for some reason, gets a lot of hate. I don't understand why. Or I don't know if it gets a lot of hate, but I know Steve from Geeked Out Nation has made it perfectly clear that he hates the first Captain America, yet he won't say why. This is still fantastic. Then I had to own the Avengers, because it's the Avengers. It's my favorite superhero movie of all time. Iron Man 3. Now, something that's always bugged me about Iron Man 3 is that when people talk about this movie, they criticize the fact that Tony Stark is not in his suit for very long. And for some reason, when they talk about The Dark Knight, they have to give Batman a free pass. Which, like, even though Tony Stark, when he's out of the Iron Man suit, does a lot more cooler things than being stuck at the bottom of a fucking pit. It's a fun movie. Thor: The Dark World. I like it. It's my least favorite of the MCU movies. It's definitely overblown on comedy, I think, but it's got its moments. It's really cool, I think. It's fun. Guardians of the Galaxy is really good, but not as good as Captain America: The Winter Soldier, which, here's something that I feel like. I'm prepping for Age of Ultron. I feel like, okay, in the order they were released, it's Thor: The Dark World, Captain America, and then Guardians. I feel like if you're watching it in prep for Age of Ultron, you should watch it in the order of Thor: The Dark World, Guardians of the Galaxy, then Captain America: The Winter Soldier, because Thor: The Dark World feeds into Guardians of the Galaxy a lot more, and Winter Soldier, I feel like, is going to feed more into Age of Ultron. I don't know for sure, but I'm going to see it. That does it for the Blu-ray piles. Now let's get on to the DVDs. We'll start over here. Now, some of the DVDs I pull are going to be movies that I talk about because I own more than one version of it, but let's move on. We'll get these out of the way. I own the Gamera movies. I've reviewed these already, so you guys probably know what I think of them. Double feature of Rodan and War of the Gargantuas, two Toho classics from Ishiro Honda. Rodan is my favorite, and War of the Gargantuans, while cheesy, has some really good moments also. Another 3-pack of Toho monster movies from Ishiro Honda, The Mysterians, Varan, and Matango. Matango is really interesting because it's not really a monster movie. It's more of a horror thriller. Really, definitely something you should check out. And then another 3-pack. You can tell I like Toho science fiction a lot. This includes The H-Man, Battle in Outer Space, and Mothra. The H-Man's really cool because it's like a film noir crossed with science fiction and horror in a way. And then Mothra, it's the original Mothra. It's important in some way. King Kong Escapes. This movie kind of sucks, but I love it for its cheesiness. And it's just a fun, cheesy monster movie. And I definitely like this more than the 70s version and King Kong Lives. Those are awful. I have another version of Godzilla against Mechagodzilla, and that's because the subtitles on the Blu-ray are referred to as dub titles, meaning they dubbed the English dub version, not the Japanese version. This has the correct subtitles, so that's why I hang on to the DVD. Alright, let's talk Star Wars. I got the original trilogy, including Revenge of the Sith. You know what, I'm going to actually talk about these movies, so yeah. That was just awkward. I just and then just nothing happens. I have a Turner Classic Movies film collection of science fiction adventures. That's what it's labeled, which includes them, World Without an End, Satellite in the Sky, and The Beast from 20,000 Fathoms. I'm more interested in seeing them and The Beast from 20,000 Fathoms than they are the other movies. We'll see what happens. Oh, this makes me sad. District 9. I love District 9, but what's happening with Neil Blomkamp? What? I hope he doesn't fuck up on the Alien movie he's making. The original Planet of the Apes. I couldn't own Rise or Dawn of the Planet of the Apes without owning the original, which is definitely fantastic. I have the theatrical version of the Lord of the Rings trilogy. Fellowship, Two Towers, Return of the King. Really great movies, but they're also so goddamn long. I don't watch them as often as many other people do because they're so long. Okay, the Star Trek trilogy, which consists of Star Trek II, Wrath of Khan, Search for Spock, and The Voyage Home. Really good. The Abyss is an overlooked James Cameron movie, which I'm still waiting for a James Cameron approved Blu-ray of. Tron, I like Tron Legacy a little more because this one seems outdated by someone who was born in the 90s, but it's cool. The American Pie trilogy, I like the first American Pie. The second and third one, not so much. Fight Club. I'm going to be totally honest with you guys. I don't love this movie. I like it, but I just don't understand why so many people just go berserk over it. Maybe I need to watch it again to really understand, but as it stands right now, like Fight Club, don't love it. Yet to see Amelie, so around that. The Jurassic Park trilogy. Jurassic Park's awesome. The 2 sequels are a mixed bag. We'll get into those in our lifetime soon. The Mummy Collection, which involves the 2 Brendan Fraser mummies, the first 2, and Scorpion King, which has The Rock in it. Doesn't have Mummy Tomb of the Dragon Emperor because that one is bullshit. And then I have the extended version of King Kong on DVD, and I mentioned this in a past video. The reason I have this is because there are bonus features that aren't on the Blu-ray. Okay. Alright, so we have Spider-Man, Spider-Man 2, and Spider-Man 3 on DVD. There are parts I like about 3. I mean, I like it better than The Amazing Spider-Man 2, but yeah, it's not perfect. The first one doesn't hold up that well. 2 is really cool, I think. Not in my top 10 of favorite superhero movies, but Spider-Man 2 is awesome. I have Iron Man on DVD. Here's Iron Man 2 on DVD. I don't get the hate for this movie. I honestly don't. People act like it's Spider-Man 3, which it's nowhere. It's not even bad. Like, Spider-Man 3, yeah. Iron Man 2 is good. I like it. Incredible Hulk on DVD. Alien and Aliens. 1 by Ridley Scott, 2 by James Cameron. Both really fantastic. I do own the movies on Blu-ray. We'll get to those later, I promise. Like, very soon. Predator on DVD. The Simpsons movie, which is good. Jaws and the theatrical version of King Kong on DVD. Okay, here's another movie pile. Alfred Hitchcock's Dial M for Murder. I have yet to see this, but I know it's Hitchcock, so it's got to be really good. North by Northwest on DVD. I do have the Blu-ray for this. It's a fantastic Hitchcock thriller. OSS 117. This is from the people who did The Artist, and it's a fantastic spoof on the spy genre, especially the Sean Connery Bond era of those movies. And yeah, it's definitely fantastic. Better than Austin Powers, I think. Gremlins on DVD. Whoa! That was a horrible Pee Wee Herman impression. I apologize. Yeah, Pee-wee's Big Adventure, one of Tim Burton's best movies. Nobody makes me bleed my own blood. Nobody! Dodgeball was a surprise to me. Like, I was surprised how funny this movie is. Anchorman, The Legend of Ron Burgundy. I enjoyed the sequel, just not as much as this. Wedding Crashers is really funny, with Vince Vaughn, Owen Wilson, Rachel McAdams, Bradley Cooper, before he became an Oscar nominee, and Rocket Raccoon. And who's the other girl? Esla Fisher. It's a really funny movie. Oh, and it was before the Hangover days. Hangover is really funny. The other two suck. 3 is absolute garbage. Zombieland. I think in the terms of comedies that came out in 2009, I might like Zombieland more than The Hangover. National Lampoon's Animal House. I do own this on Blu-ray. Forgetting Sarah Marshall. Really great romantic comedy, and it's the perfect movie, I think, to watch if you're going through a breakup. It could have cut out a few dicks here and there, but it's still funny. The Artist, a movie that won the Oscar that not people really talk about these days. Like, I don't get it, because this is fantastic. It's a beautifully shot film that's a homage to the silent eras of movies in the 20s. Saving Private Ryan, fantastic. Maybe my favorite war movie. Not my top favorite Spielberg movie, because obviously that's my favorite, Jaws. But Saving Private Ryan's fantastic. I, Robot is a movie I haven't seen in a while, so I can't really give an opinion on it. I own the first 2 Christopher Reeve Superman movies. Superman 1 it's very much of its time, but it's really great, I think, for the genre. Beautiful music. Christopher Reeve is Superman. Superman 2 is really good too, and is the movie where Superman kills Zod and nobody gets pissed. You got Tim Burton's Batman here. Very dark, stylistic superhero movie that made the current image of Batman popular again after the 1960s Adam West series. And don't worry, I have the Dark Knight movies. Bonnie and Clyde is a fantastic crime movie and very much a game changer when it came out. Another overlooked James Cameron movie, True Lies. I wanted to see a Blu-ray of this. I want to see a Blu-ray of this movie. Or else, you're fired. Come on, Bennett. Let's party. Commando is the epitome of Schwarzenegger one-liners. It is cheesy. It's technically not very good, but it's awesome. It's similar to the more recent Fast and Furious movies. Oh my god, these movies are awesome. Crank and Crank High Voltage. These are the most batshit insane action movies I've ever seen. And I wouldn't be surprised if the directors Neville Dean Tyler got inspiration from Tokyo Drifter. I would not be surprised. Bill and Ted's Excellent Adventure. That's excellent. Harold and Kumar Go to White Castle is... it was really fun. I'm okay with the other 2 movies, but this one's the best. And you can tell that this is where we're getting into the randomness of like, wait, how does this relate to that? Jimmy Neutron Boy Genius, I really like. I haven't seen this in since it came out in DVD, so I wonder how my opinion will feel. I wonder how I'll feel on it. I have Terminator 2 on DVD, and the original Terminator, really fantastic movie, even though it is overshadowed by this. The Land Before Time. I wish we could get a Blu-ray of this movie soon, because I really love it. I have the first 2 Shrek movies, because these are the only 2 worth owning. Shrek 2 is the best. Bruce Almighty might be my favorite Jim Carrey Jim Carrey movie. There's just something about it that I just really love. Men in Black is really funny. Not much to say about that. And I just realized I had another stack of DVDs right here. The Searchers, directed by John Ford, starring John Wayne. Fantastic American Western. Indiana Jones, Kingdom of the Crystal Skull, and I own the others on DVD because before the Blu-rays came out, you got to own them on DVDs, and why would I only own the fourth movie? The Iron Giant is another anime movie that needs to come to Blu-ray along with The Land Before Time. Warner Brothers, make it happen. How to Train Your Dragon was a surprise. I want to get it on Blu-ray along with the sequel. It's definitely DreamWorks' more mature movie. Not my favorite, that one's Shrek 2, but fantastic regardless. I got no strings to hold me down. Pinocchio, Disney's second animated feature, which is fantastic. I love how the Age of Ultron teaser used the song because it just, like, that song is embedded in everyone's mind. And to hear a creepy rendition of it is really cool. Fantasia and Fantasia 2000, really arty, really kind of artsy in a way. I like the first one more. Alice in Wonderland is my favorite Disney movie from the era when Walt was alive. There's just something about it that just makes it hold up today. I have an old DVD version of Lady and the Tramp. I haven't seen this movie in a long time, so I'm curious how this holds up. Bug's Life. For over the years, Bug's Life has gotten a lot of hate. Yeah, it's not that good. I really love A Bug's Life, but mainly I think when it came out, I was going through some things that were very much parallel to what Flick, the main character, was going through. But I really love it. It's my top 3 Pixar movies. Monsters, Inc. is a really good movie, and I've reviewed this already. WALL-E. WALL-E is in my top. It's my outside the Toy Story trilogy. This is my favorite Pixar movie. It's absolutely fantastic. It's one of the best movies of the decade, and the best movie of 2008 in my opinion. Who Framed Roger Rabbit is a fantastic comedy animated noir film, and here's a story to go with this. So, I was taking a film noir class in my last year of college, and I decided to write on Who Framed Roger Rabbit and the parallels it had to film noir. And so I turned it in, and then 2 weeks later, I find out that Bob Hoskins dies, and I'm just like, oh man, that sucks. And it just happened to be after I wrote a paper on this movie. Just an interesting, creepy, coincidental story. Roger Rabbit's awesome. I have the Pirates of the Caribbean movies. The first one's the best, obviously. It's very much a modern Indiana Jones movie. 2 is entertaining. The best part of the movie is the Kraken sequence. 3 is a muddled mess. I own 3 because I like the action sequences. The ending is a lot of fun. But when you get down to it, the story and the character motivations, it's like the writers didn't even know what movie they're making. I don't really care much about the 4th one to get on Blu-ray. I'm not excited about the 5th one. Halloween, the first Halloween, is a fantastic horror movie. Nightmare on Elm Street is awesome. The most creative slasher movie of its era. Evil Dead 2, which is groovy. Piranha 3D, or just Piranha, as you would go here, is terrible, honestly, but it's fun also. It's a guilty pleasure movie, and if that's what they were going for, then, hey, you did your job, filmmakers. Here's the other Scorsese movie I own, Shutter Island on DVD. This one was a gift. Definitely one of the overlooked Scorsese movies, and definitely one of the shortest. I think it's really great. Those are the only 2 Scorsese movies I own. This and Wolf of Wall Street. Here's another TMC pack, with Hitchcock movies. Suspicion, Strangers on a Train, I Confess, and The Wrong Man. Strangers on a Train is fantastic. I've not seen the others. Okay, so that does it for our movies. Now let's get into the TV shows. We have Season 1 of Star Wars: The Clone Wars on DVD, which is probably the weaker season. But The Clone Wars is a fun show. Star Wars Rebels is so much better. But it's good. Futurama Season 1. Can't go wrong with Futurama. Superman the Animated Series Season 1, which, in my opinion, this is the best interpretation of Superman outside the comics, which I've not read. I'm just assuming that nothing's better than the comics. I don't own Batman the Animated Series, though. It's odd. Season 1 of Monty Python's Flying Circus. It's Monty Python. It's awesome. There's 2 Walking with Dinosaurs DVDs. The 2 Walking with Dinosaurs, the original, and then the Allosaurus special about Big Al, the Allosaurus that was discovered in Wyoming. Really interesting, very innovative for their time. I have not bothered to see that piece of shit movie that's passes off as Walking with Dinosaurs. I refuse to. Okay, you want to talk about guilty pleasure shows? Boom! Viva La Bam, one of the Jackass spin-offs starring Bam Margera. I've always said that the Jackass series is the most realistic reality series ever filmed. This is like fake Jackass in a way. Like watching it today, it's like I can tell it's really fake. There's some stuff that just very MTV-like because it's MTV, but for some reason I like this series. I don't know why. There's just something about... There's just a fun factor to it that makes me laugh. And rest in peace, Ryan Dunn. Okay, last stack of television shows before we move on to the next half of the set. We're going to start with season 1 and 2 of Ed, Edd and Eddy. If you're a kid of the 90s, you've seen these shows. And this is my favorite cartoon growing up. And I really wish they'd release the other seasons on... DVD and the movie. Christmas with the Simpsons, just a compilation DVD of Simpsons Christmas related episodes. And in case you're wondering, I do own one of the seasons on DVD. Season 14 is one of my favorites. I know many people don't like the series after I think 9, but this one is my favorite Treehouse of Horror segment with all the Homer clones. It's funny. Transformers Prime. This is what the live action Transformers movies should have been. Focused on the Transformers, and it's just really fun action sequences. It's like basically the Transformers movie fans deserved, but in TV form. Dollhouse. I think people said this was one of Joss Whedon's weaker efforts, but I've heard some good things about it. Get a chance to watch it someday. I have the first 4 seasons of Community on DVD. I don't know why they weren't released on Blu-ray, but they're really fun. Season 1 and 3 are the best. Season 4 is flawed, but I like it. And here's a little fun fact. In the first and second episode, the one with the Hunger Deans and the Inspecticon, I was actually an extra. Yeah. If you go to my Instagram page, I posted a picture of me as a background actor in the Inspecticon episode. So, yeah, it's fun. Like, Community... I mean, even before I got to be on the show, I love it. I have the first 2 seasons of Modern Family on DVD, which is a show that really holds up, I think. It's crazy looking at the show right now and just seeing how much older the kids are. And it's just, like, the show's 6 years old and the kids... I don't know, it's just... I'm getting old. Getting old, John. But that show definitely holds up more than the next show I'm going to talk about, which is... Don't hate me for this. Yeah, I own the first 3 seasons of The Big Bang Theory. So what? I like the first 2 seasons. I own the first season on DVD, the second on Blu-ray. And as for season 3, I like the first half. The second half goes downhill, but it's still watchable. Season 4 is watchable, and then Season 5 and everything afterwards is total garbage. Watching the show now, it's almost insulting to nerds. Like, it is just awful. I hope it gets canceled soon. Okay, switching gears, something I like, the Wallace and Gromit Complete Collection. This is the 4 short films. Grand Day Out, Wrong Trousers, Close Shave, and A Matter of Life and Death. They're really great. I have Season 1 of Sherlock. Benedict Cumberbatch and Martin Freeman are fantastic. This is a better Sherlock Holmes interpretation than the Robert Downey Jr. movie, which I like the first Robert Downey Jr. movie, but this, so much better. We got the Peanuts Holiday Collection. These are really good. I'm curious about the movie. I hope it's really good, but if not, then I'll always have these. Pixar short films. These are volumes 1 and 2 of a lot of the short films that Pixar's done, which are just great. If you never, they usually play in front of other movies, and they're just phenomenal shorts. Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. Season 1. I don't hate the first half of this season. I kind of like it, but I definitely admit that when I did those vlogs, it was very much fanboy love. Because going back, it's like, they're not too good. But once the second half jumps in, and especially after Captain America Winter Soldier came out, the show got really good, but it's still no Agent Carter or Daredevil. Oh my god, Daredevil! Still nerding out about that shit. It's amazing. And that does it for this set here. Now, I'm just going to cut away as I put all this shit back and pull out the box sets that I have, because we're not done with this video, so stay tuned. Alright, I'm back, so let's finish this video. Oh, I'm all out. Damn it. Alright, no longer to... okay, let's just get on with this. Okay, these are my box sets, bigger box sets. The Star Wars Saga on Blu-ray. It does come with the other two prequels, which I don't like, but it does have a good amount of bonus features, which is why I have it. The Gamera trilogy. I can't have anything Gamera related without the best 3 Gamera movies. And I don't own Gamera the Brave because that Blu-ray is a little hard to find, just like the DVD with Godzilla vs. Mechagodzilla. And I will be goddamned if I own every Gamera movie before I own every Godzilla movie. This is the King Kong collection. I said good things about the Peter Jackson one, but this is the original King Kong, a classic. It also comes with Son of Kong and Mighty Joe Young. Never saw Mighty Joe Young, but Son of Kong is... It's not a masterpiece, but it is definitely entertaining. The Lord of the Rings the Lord of the Rings extended editions. I bitched about the length of the Lord of the Rings movies, but I mean, I had to have them on Blu-ray, and I think this is the best one to own. And just like when it's a rainy day or something, I'll sit around and watch these. You know, they're so long. Yojimbo and Sanjuro from the Criterion Collection. These are the only Kurosawa movies I don't have on Blu-ray, which is a shame because Yojimbo is my favorite Kurosawa movie. There's just something about it that's just so iconic, memorable, and just very cool. Sanjuro's good, but it doesn't hold a candle to Yojimbo. And transitioning into the next thing I have, the Sergio Leone anthology. The first movie, Fistful of Dollars, was basically a Western remake of Yojimbo. And it's not as good as Yojimbo, but it's still very fantastic and launched Clint Eastwood into the star that he was back in the day. I've not seen For a Few Dollars More or Duck You Sucker. And then The Good, the Bad, and the Ugly is phenomenal. Here's the Indiana Jones trilogy on DVD. The first 3 Indiana Jones movies. Why do I own DVD and Blu-ray? Why haven't I gotten rid of this? It looks cool on my shelf. The Criterion Collection, we have Fantastic Mr. Fox, which is the only Wes Anderson movie that I own. The only animated movie he's done. I think this is really good. Next to Royal Tenenbaums and Grand Budapest Hotel, this is my favorite. Can't wait till that Grand Budapest Hotel comes on Blu-ray. The original Texas Chainsaw Massacre. This is a creepy, unsettling movie, but it's really good also. One of the best horror movies ever. Okay, here's the Alfred Hitchcock Masterpiece Collection on Blu-ray, which contains, let's see if I can name them all. Saboteur, Shadow of a Doubt, Rope, Rear Window, Trouble with Harry, The Man Who Knew Too Much, Vertigo, North by Northwest, Psycho, The Birds, Marnie, Torn Curtain, Topaz, Frenzy, and Family Plot. And I have another Hitchcock box set right here, which is on DVD. It has this nice case, but it doesn't come with North by Northwest, so that's why I owned North by Northwest as an individual DVD, and given that I love Hitchcock, I had to get the Blu-ray, and luckily this has North by Northwest. The Pink Panther film collection. These are not all the Pink Panther movies, but it does come with the first Pink Panther, Shot in the Dark, which I love, the Pink Panther Strikes Again, and Revenge of the Pink Panther, which I remember liking when I saw them, and then Trail of the Pink Panther, which is basically a best of Peter Sellers clip collection. Monty Python the Holy Grail. This is one of my favorite comedies ever. I know it's a cliche to say that, but it really is a funny as shit movie. It's only a model. Shh. I wish that helicopter out there was only a model. Y Tu Mama Tambien is the only one of 2 Alfonso Cuarón movies that I own. The second one should be the most obvious. I've not seen this, but I've heard it's really good. A Hard Day's Night, the Beatles movie. This is fantastic. If you're a big fan of the Beatles and not seen this, you have no excuse. West Side Story, a 50th anniversary edition on Blu-ray. When I got this was $20. $20, and you get a booklet, a CD of tribute songs, and a bunch of publicity photos. It's just, this is a fantastic musical. Probably my favorite musical. We have the Rambo collector set on Blu-ray, I wish. On DVD, which contains all 4 Rambo movies. First Blood is phenomenal. Rambo First Blood Part 2 is stupid, but it's awesome. I never bothered with Rambo 3. And Rambo from 2008 is gory as hell, but it's really good, I think. Some people disagree, but that's their own opinion. Batman Anthology, which is my way to have the Tim Burton movie on Blu-ray. It also has Batman Returns and the shitty Batman Forever and Batman and Robin. Yeah, those 2 aren't very good at all, but I like the 2 Tim Burton movies. But here's the one that I'm sure Batman fans have been waiting for me to get to. The Dark Knight trilogy on Blu-ray. Batman Begins, which is really good. The Dark Knight, which is phenomenal. And then The Dark Knight Rises. I honestly need to think about The Dark Knight Rises more. Every time I think about it, it's just like, sometimes I'm like, oh, it's really good, it's really great. And then other times, like, it's totally shitty, it's boring. Some things don't make sense. So I need to rewatch it and form my thoughts on it, my final closing thoughts on it. But I also own this, the Ultimate Collector's Edition of the Dark Knight Trilogy. I reviewed this on Geeked Out Nation, so you can check out my written review. This is the other Ben Affleck movie I own, The Town. This is a phenomenal heist movie. Really, it was the movie that made me shut up about Ben Affleck's talent. It's like, well, can't make fun of him anymore, because The Town is my third or fourth favorite movie the year it came out, 2010. It's fantastic. If you've never seen The Town, watch it. Next we have the Tarantino XX Collection, which contains Inglourious Basterds, Pulp Fiction, Kill Bill Volume 1 and 2, Reservoir Dogs, Jackie Brown, Death Proof, and Tony Scott's True Romance, which he wrote the script for. I've seen 2 of these movies in here, but I mean, I'm a film fan. Tarantino is an important figure in the film industry. Pulp Fiction's phenomenal. Inglourious Basterds, I remember being disappointed when I saw it, but I honestly need to watch it again because I might enjoy it the second time now that I'm not expecting it to be phenomenal. It can't be worse than Django Unchained, which I hate. I'm sorry, I hate Django Unchained. Get the Harry Potter 8 film collection, which Prisoner of Azkaban is the second Alfonso Cuarón. No, I'm sorry, Gravity. That's right, he did Gravity. I'm sorry. People are screaming. I bet people were screaming at me like, "No, you motherfucker! You own 3 of his movies." That's right, Gravity, Itu Mama Tamien, and Harry Potter and the Prisoner of Azkaban. Yeah, the Harry Potter movies are great. They're just really fun. 3 is my favorite. Then followed by Deathly Hallows Part 2. I cannot wait to go to the Wizarding World of Harry Potter, either whenever I go to Orlando or when it finally opens in Hollywood, because Harry Potter! Avatar, this is controversial here, and I'm going to say something very controversial also. I think it's underrated. Yeah, I know a lot of people, like, back then loved Avatar, but now, 6 years later, if you ask people about Avatar, like, wow, yeah, that was a piece of shit, in all honesty. It's like, it's not a piece of shit. I mean, I don't understand why, I'm going to go on a quick rant, I don't understand why with some movies like Titanic or Lion King or Fistful of Dollars where they borrow from other movies, they get free passes, and yet Avatar gets shit on. Is it because it's the highest grossing movie of all time? I don't know, but I mean, I definitely love this movie. It's definitely better visual effects wise, more than storytelling, but it's still a really great movie, I think. The Jurassic Park trilogy on Blu-ray. Fast and the Furious films on Blu-ray, all 6 movies. Of all of them, 6 is my favorite. 5 I didn't see until prepping for Furious 7, and I was kind of underwhelmed. I liked 5, but I had to wait 4 years of people telling me, oh, it's fantastic, it's an incredible movie, only to see it and like, well, it's good, but not as good as I imagined. Then we have the Universal Classic Monsters Essentials Collection, which includes Dracula, Frankenstein, The Mummy, The Wolfman, The Bride of Frankenstein, The Invisible Man, the colored version of Phantom of the Opera, and The Creature from the Black Lagoon. I think it's cool that Universal is trying to bring their like monsters back together to be in another movie together, but I hate that it's going the Underworld Resident Evil route with Dracula Untold. That's stupid. The X-Men Experience Collection includes X-Men First Class, X-Men 2, X-Men 3, and X-Men. Yeah, the only reason I have 3 is because it was in the set, and it was a good way to get the first 2 X-Men movies and First Class on Blu-ray. I have the Alien anthology. So obviously I own Aliens on DVD, but I got this because I like the bonus features on here. I wanted to see some bonus features, even if that meant owning Alien 3 and Alien Resurrection, which are crap. No other way to say it. No other way to be nice to it. Almost done because my throat is killing me. Of course, I can't have a Back to the Future poster there without owning the movies. Back to the Future, along with Jaws, is one of those movies where it might be my favorite movie of all time, or it's in the running because, and I see this trilogy as one whole movie because they're so tightly knotted together. They're so brilliantly written. They're so fluent in terms of tone that it's just, oh my god, I love this movie. Okay, here's something that's like, why do you own this? Transformers G1. I own this because I was curious to see the original series, and it's bad. Don't get me wrong, it's terrible. And mainly that's because I grew up in the 90s and didn't grow up with Transformers really. But it's entertaining for how shitty it is, and it's definitely better than the Michael Bay movies, but not as good as the Transformers Prime animated series or the High Moon video games. And of course I can't own Serenity without owning Firefly, and you really think I'd own the 2 lesser Joss Whedon projects, Dollhouse and Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D.? No, because Firefly is fantastic show. Can't wait to get around to seeing Serenity. And I do have Buffy the Vampire Slayer, the complete series on DVD. I'm near the end of season 4, and I'm going to be honest, I may like Buffy a little more than Angel, and that's probably because Buffy went on for much longer. Firefly's phenomenal. Don't get me wrong. It is phenomenal for its first season and only season. But Buffy, I really love Buffy the Vampire Slayer. And come on, Full House gets a resurrection, but not Firefly. Fucking break. I have another movie box set here. The James Bond 50 set. All the Bond movies spanning over the 50 years the franchise has been going on. This is where I play Skyfall, because when I showed you Skyfall earlier in the video, the Blu-ray wasn't in here, but it's in here. Goldfinger is actually my favorite Bond movie. Again, a lot of people say Casino Royale is their favorite, but Goldfinger so far is my favorite. I've not seen all the Bond movies, but we'll get around to watching all of them before Spectre comes out. Well, I hope that's good. I think it'll be good. It's got Sam Mendes, but could be another Quantum of Solace. Or I hope it's not another Die Another Day. Talk about this. Futurama, the complete series. This contains... you saw I own season 1, just rubbing some dust off this thing. But these are all this is everything Futurama. The Fox run, the Comedy Central run, and the 4 movies, which I've not seen. I've seen all the Fox run, and I've seen like 1 episode of the Comedy Central run. Can't go wrong with Futurama. Almost done. Almost done. Okay. SpongeBob, the first 100 episodes. It basically contains the 3 seasons and some of the 4th season, which the first 3 seasons are the best. The movie was a lot of fun, and the SpongeBob show is fun too. Avatar: The Last Airbender. It's awesome. I love it. Love it, love it, love it, love it, love it, love it, love Avatar! One of my favorite TV shows, or along with Firefly, Buffy, Daredevil, which I'm still geeking out over. Oh my god, it's so good. Okay, moving on. Let's move on to something totally ridiculous. MXC Season 1 and 2. Oh my god, MXC. This is a redubbing of the show Takashi's Castle. And it is a very funny show. It's just totally absurd. The comedy is so stupid, but it's funny also. It's fun seeing people get smashed into things, and they're just some Oh my god, it's a funny show. If you haven't seen MXC, give it a shot. And I wish I could find the DVDs for seasons 3 and 4 because they were released, but are really hard, if not impossible, to find. So I'm hoping one day to get the other 2 seasons on DVD. And last but not least, the crown jewel, or one of the crown jewels of my collection, almost dropped it, that would have been shitty, the Universal 100th Anniversary Collection, which I've already talked about. I'm almost done reviewing every movie in the set, but I am done talking about every DVD and Blu-ray that I own. That is all of it. If I do any more videos concerning DVDs or Blu-rays, I will probably do like an update video and not just a full collection video. But if I do full collection video, I'm going to wait until I get a better shelf. That way I can do just like going up to the shelf with a camera, just pulling out saying, hey, there's that. Because I gotta say, taking all this stuff out and putting it all back is tiring. But hey, we did it. That is my Blu-ray DVD collections, and I hope you guys enjoyed it. Leave a comment and tell me what you thought of this collection. What did you like? What did you point at and go, why do you have that? Like, subscribe, and this is the real Mr. Robinson telling you there is only one. Now, if you'll excuse me, I'm gonna go get some water and go see Avengers Age of Ultron. See you guys.